What if everything that's happened in 2020 were the exact necessary ingredients in order for you now to take your quantum leap into 2021? What if 2020 has been the platform to prepare you for this amazing progression of the life that you would love, the business that you would love, and 2020, you look back and 2020 is the year where you say, oh my gosh, that was my best year ever. My name is Felicia Searcy, your Dream Life Activator, and in this live, Facebook Live, I want to support you in harnessing all of the good from 2020, no matter what happened for you this year, and to really understand how to harness the power of those dark nights, those really challenging times, and let those things be the catalyst to catapult you into that year, that life where you hear yourself saying several times a day, oh my gosh, I love my life. That's what we're up to. And I encourage you to stick around because I have an amazing gift and offering that I will be providing you. My dog got something which is distracting me a little bit. That I would love to offer you to join me when we're all done with this. So stick around. You're going to get great value in this to really help you understand the power of 2020 in order for you to harness that power and then catapult yourself that quantum leap year in 2021. So let me share with you why I am on fire with this. You know, I was a student. I've been a student of what I teach here. I call universal law for decades. I really began to apply it, and I got super clear about what was it that I really wanted to create. What was it that I love, and that this is what I wanted to take the leap for. So I got myself prepared, and I said, I'm doing it, and I jumped. I took the leap. I jumped mightily into this thing that I absolutely love, thinking that was it. That was the leap. You know, as we take the leap and we think that's it. All right, now it's all smooth sailing. Well, it wasn't. In fact, 3 weeks after starting this business, I found myself in an ambulance with my husband in the back, heading to the hospital, University Hospital in Vanderbilt University in Nashville, not knowing if he's going to live or die. I get to the hospital and I have a doctor who's telling me, Mrs. Searcy, if your husband doesn't stay in the hospital, he'll die. And I have somebody in the insurance office saying, Mrs. Searcy, your insurance is not covering this particular illness. I figure out how to get him settled in and keep him in the ICU. Get home and, took some time, finally was able to get away, got home, fell asleep. I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I got terror ripping through my body. My whole world just got kicked out from underneath my feet. And I got a question banging in my head. And the question was, how do I keep my husband alive? How do I keep my husband alive? Now, one of the things that I have learned is that the caliber of the question will give you the caliber of the answer. And I got an answer to that question. And the answer was, go back to the school system. I knew I could get a job in the school system that I had left to start this business. And I knew that I could get a job and my husband would be insured. Within a couple of days, I could have insurance for my husband. But here's what happens when you start playing with ideas that are no longer aligned with you. It was literally like a light, a dimmer switch. Hey, Brittany, really good to see you. It was as if a dimmer switch went down inside of me, that there was life going out inside of me. Now, because I have been studying what I'm sharing here with you, I had room for a different question to drop in. So I want you to listen to the process of what happens when those dark nights show up, of how to really harness them in a way that will allow you to catapult. So rather than asking the question, how do I keep my husband alive, and entertaining the idea of going back to teaching, there was a different idea that dropped in. And the different idea was, what if my dream is actually the answer to my husband's illness? Now, I didn't have a shred of evidence for that. In fact, I had lots of evidence that it wasn't the answer. I had just stepped into an industry, the coaching and teaching industry, where less than 10% ever crossed the six-figure mark. So I had a 92% evidence rate that I was not going to succeed at this. But here's what happens. That when you begin to entertain a different possibility, there's a different thought pattern that you make room for. So I'm lying there. I got my 65-pound boxer on one side, my 75-pound hound on another side, and my 16-pound cat on my chest, just trying to get some kind of comfort and security. And I have a decision to make. You have a decision to make. You've had decisions to make all along this year. And we're not done. We're still a bit in the thick of this. My decision was, do I back up and put my dream on hold and be a good wife and do the responsible thing and once again put the thing that I really wanted aside in order to take care of somebody else? And it was a very legitimate choice, especially with my husband. Or do I take the risk, and I mean literally a life or death risk, and do I leap forward? Now, I was learning to trust what I'm teaching you. I was learning to trust my vision. I was learning to trust my mentor, and I was learning to trust the power that was moving through me, the very power that wove me into life and animated me. And when I put all those things together, I made the decision to leap. Now, here's the thing I want you to hear. I didn't just throw it out to the universe and hope for the best. I got busy taking massive and perfect action, applying what I'm sharing here with you and physically taking action. And as a result, my life is transformed, and most importantly, my husband is still here. So let me share my results so you can see what this looks like in real time, that you can see the evidence of what I'm sharing with you. So at the time, I had a little thing going on. I was serving maybe 50, 60 people annually. I now have the honor of serving the dreams of thousands of people around the world. My business grew to such a degree that my husband was able to retire 7 years early. We were able to move to Southern California, where the culture and the weather and everything about it was life-giving for him because, his illness continued. We live in our dream home. I now have an income level that allows me to contribute tens of thousands of dollars to organizations that are deeply meaningful for me. Every area of our life just continues to get better. Now, here's the thing. Good for me, right? Here's what I want you to hear. This is not me. All I'm doing is activating what I'm sharing with you. That this is to impress upon you that there is a system, even in our darkest nights, that will allow you to harness your power and really live into your dream. And here's the other thing I want you to understand. Your dream, as wonderful as it is, that's not the purpose of your dream. See, you are this unlimited being with unlimited capacity to create anything that you can think up. The only way the universe, life, has a way of waking you up to that is by giving you a dream. The purpose of your dream is not to get things. It's not to achieve things. It's to grow you. It's for who you become in the process. It's the way that life transforms you. And this is what we're up to. All right, so let's get into this formula, particularly the formula of how to take and harvest all of the gold from these dark nights, the dark night of the soul, the challenging time that we've been in over the last 9-10 months, and that we still, there's still a period of time left that we're not out of this yet. All right, so here's the foundation, and I just mentioned it. First of all, the thing I want you to really understand is that you are this amazing, breathtaking, brilliant being with unlimited capacity to create. It is absolutely breathtaking, the power that you wield at your fingertips to create anything that you can think of. And what is this creative capacity? It's your thinking capacity. I love that quantum physics is now proving what spiritual masters have taught throughout the ages, that what you predominantly mentally rehearse in this faculty of your imagination and charge with your emotions has an energy to it. There's a vibration. That vibration is vibrating, that wave of energy is vibrating at a particular frequency. that wave of energy is now literally being transmitted. It's being impressed, pushed in to this invisible field around us that the quantum physics calls the quantum field, where there are waves of unformed energy hanging out in superposition. And in some fantastical way, this energy then organizes and magnetizes around your predominant pattern of your thinking and your feeling. It's the basic explanation of a law of attraction. We've all heard it. That is actually a secondary law. It's one law out of many laws, and it's a secondary law, with the real law actually being the law of vibration. All right, now, so if we really got it, that our thinking is what creates our world, and you really understand how to use it, that's your ticket no matter what's going on outside. So how do you then really allow yourself to be in what's going on when challenges are happening? You know, like mine was a very personal challenge with my husband when I was just beginning to build my business. Right now we're living in a collective challenge, whether it's illness, loss of income, you know, the uncertainty here in the U.S. of what's been going on in our politics and the division. All of that creates a sense of angst that will cause lots and lots and lots of people to hunker down and try to survive rather than seeing it as an opportunity to rise up and thrive. But not you, because you're here. So how do we do that? How do we take those really challenging situations and let them be the thing to catapult us? Well, let me walk you through what have I got? Like a 3 or 4 step process with some mini steps in between to help you know how to do that. So, number 1, when you are going for your dream and something pops up that wants to derail you and you find yourself in that dark place, the first thing you want to do to be able to harness the power of it and put it in service to your quantum leap is to acknowledge the human experience. Acknowledge the human experience. This is not about doing a spiritual bypass. It's not about pretending that everything's okay and putting on a happy face. There's a very real human experience that's happening here. You don't want to ignore that. Now, you don't want to pitch a tent in it. You don't want to dwell in it and you know, roll around in it, but you don't want to ignore it either. So you want to give yourself room to be able to acknowledge the human experience, acknowledge the sadness, acknowledge the loss. I mean, all of us have had tremendous amounts of loss on some level, even if it was the loss of not being able to hug people or having to make the decision to hug knowing potentially that you're putting somebody at risk, or, you know, even just the work of denying that. All of that takes energy. So there's a very real human impact. You want to acknowledge that. You want to give yourself the space to be able to experience that and process it. You can do it by journaling. You can do it by talking with somebody. But when you talk to somebody, just let them know what you're up to, that this is about processing it in order to get to a place where you have access to your power. Not having somebody look at you and say, yeah, it's awful, ain't it awful? You do not want to get into that ain't it awful conversation. So the first step is to acknowledge the human experience. Let yourself have that human experience. Now, once you do that, then you put a stake in the ground and you declare that this is the thing that is going to transform you at depth. This is your decision to be present for this in a way that will absolutely transform you at depth. I will never forget that moment when I did that in a situation with my husband. That, you know, he was basically incapable. We had another business that he ran. He really became incapable of running that business. And so I'm running that business and I'm building my business, trying to get my business going, while trying to navigate what was going on with him medically and deal with the medical elements of it. And I remember one night just being in the thick of it. And there was no guarantee that it was going to work. I didn't know if he was going to live or not. I didn't know my business was going to work or not. I didn't even know if I was going to keep the doors open on the one that we already had. I didn't know any of this. And all I wanted to do, there was a moment when all I wanted to do was just to crawl into bed and pull the covers over my head and just wish it all away. But I remember in that moment, and I had my mentor's voice in my head. You know, she was whispering in my ear, you know, I believe in you, that you can do this. And I remember making a very clear decision. This was going to be the thing that was going to transform me at depth. I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen, but I knew that there was such power in my ability to lean, if I leaned into this and let this thing be the thing that absolutely transformed me at depth. I made a decision for it. Now, the power of that is it allows you to be present with it in a very different way than the thing that you're just trying to survive and get through. It gives you a completely different frame of reference. It allows you to see things completely different. So the first thing you want to do is have the human experience, and then number two, make a decision. Make a decision that this is going to be the thing to transform you at depth. Now, once you do that, then you're with the circumstances and situations in a way that allows you to, you get to declare what you see about them. You get to declare what you say about them. And so the third step then is to look at your conditions, look at what's going on, and control the narrative. You get to control the narrative. Now, what I mean by controlling the narrative, I mean, think about it. When you turn on any news station, that particular news station or news outlet is controlling the way that they're telling the story. That they're even highly objective news outlets that are deeply committed to bringing you legitimate, credible, valid information, there's still a narrative to it. Even if they're just wanting to stay neutral, that's a narrative. The gift is, as you understand who you are as this amazing power with unlimited capacity to create, it means you get to control how you're receiving information. You get to control what happens with that information once it lands in you. So, the way that you do that, because remember, it's all about, Michelle, so good to see you, Michelle. It's all about using your imaginative capacity, your creative capacity constructively in an empowered way. So when you are faced with situations like I was with my husband, and those of you that are now just dropping in, go back and listen to this whole thing to get all of this, is that when things are coming to you, and even in the face of conflicting evidence, you declare it good. You call it good. You get to call it what it is. There's a great story, about a baseball story, about how there were two teams and it was a tied score and the bases were loaded and it was the bottom of the third and there were 2 outs, and here's a hitter and two outs and 3 balls, and so he goes up to he goes to swing at the next pitch, and one side says it's a strike and the other side says it's a ball, and the umpire says it ain't nothing till I call it. That's you. The situation is nothing until you call it. And so you determine. You put a stake in the ground and you said, I am leaning into this, that this is the thing that is going to transform me at depth. And as you do that, you are declaring it good. You are declaring whatever is coming to you, you are declaring it good. Now, what this does is that it hones your capacity to see the good that can come out of it, the good that's present in it now, and the good that can come out of it. And you want to do very active things in order to ground this. You want to journal, you want to list, you want to claim, you want to post it on Facebook, but that you are declaring good. You're saying this is good. This is good overall, and each thing. Here's the good in this. Here's the good in this. Here's the good in this. So you're declaring and seeing the good. So we're under controlling the narrative. Then you decide what you're going to see for the future. We've had lots of projections. Now, I understand the necessity for the projections. They're trying to get us to do things that will reduce the damage of what we're in right now. And so they're giving us worst case scenarios in order to help us modify our behavior. The thing about it is that you get to decide what you're going to see for your future. You get to set your vision. Now, it may not happen exactly the way that you're mapping it out. Obviously, 2020 didn't happen the way that we mapped it out, but your overall vision doesn't have to change. You know, my overall vision of wanting to serve you, wanting to serve your dream, that hasn't changed. The mechanisms changed, but my overall vision of the number of people I want to serve, the way in which I serve them, you know, my dream for the rest of my life, those overall basic things have not changed. You get to determine that. And so one of the things that I help people do is get super clear about your vision, understanding the power. That is the foundational power to everything. And so let's imagine it's a year from now and you and I are in a conversation and it all worked out. December 31st, 2021. That's a year and a couple of weeks. It all worked out. What's the conversation you would love to be having about your life? Let yourself dream that. Now, as you declare good, you declare that this is the thing that's going to transform you at depth. You declare that it's good and you start letting yourself vision what you would love. What happens is that you literally start thinking differently. You see possibilities where other people are seeing threats and dangers. And it allows you a much greater degree of creativity, ingenuity, and will to be able to now harness this power and take persistent and consistent action. You do what I call activate your brilliance. So that's step 4. Hey, Beatrice, really thrilled that you're here. I'm encourage you to go back and listen to the whole thing to capture all of the gold here. So, as you are activating your brilliance, remember, you've let yourself have the human experience. You've made a decision that this dark night, whatever it is, and right now, all of us are in some way, shape, or form, in some sort of experience, that you make a decision is going to be the thing to transform you at depth. You control the narrative by declaring it good. You are creating a vision that you would love, and now you're activating your brilliance. You're taking action on those things that you are deciding for. You are not letting your world decide this for you. You are deciding for this. And there's 2 questions that you work with in order to activate your brilliance. First question, if I really believed that this was possible, even in the face of some really daunting circumstances, if I really believed that this was possible, what is the action I would take? And you take that action. You let those ideas drop in and you take those actions. Then you ask, what can I do where I am with what I have? Realizing it's crazy how much resource you have. Now, as you're doing that, you do that. That's step 3. So step 1 is acknowledge the human experience. Step 2, make a decision that whatever is going on is going to be the thing to transform you at depth. Step 3, control the narrative. Under step 3, control the narrative, you declare it good, you decide your vision, and then you activate your brilliance. Now, in order to really support you in being able to keep moving forward, because stuff out here is still spinning. I mean, my world was still spinning. My husband was still sick. He was still in and out of hospitals. I still had to deal with our existing business. I still had to figure out how to get this business going. Just because I made those decisions and just because I took those actions didn't mean that the world around me did not stop spinning. Did not mean that the world underneath me was shaking. That these other 2 steps will really support you in activating the first 3. The next one is that make sure that you are surrounded with support. And not just support that say, yeah, you can do this, but support that really understands the power of your power and can show you how to unlock that power and can look at you with unwavering conviction in the eye and tell you that absolutely you can do this. And so step 4, you want support around you. And then step 5, all of this, it's an active step and it's happening automatically of where you are absolutely deepening your sense of awareness, connection, communion, companionship with the very power that animated you, this life force, divine energy, whatever you want to call it, that this whole process of deciding that this is the thing that is going to transform you at depth, that it is causing you to lean deeper into an awareness that there truly is a power that created you, that breathed you into existence, and is now animating you and streaming through you. And the more you connect to this, the more you understand that there's nothing bigger than the power that's moving through you. There is no fact or condition in the outside world that is bigger than the power that is breathing you. That I am bigger than this. I am more than this. There is that in me that is more than this power. And the more you know that, the more you're able to reach down and access and harness this power that is you and moving through you, and keep you moving forward in order for you to create your quantum leap. All right, so there it is. There's the formula. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Watch as you transform. Your world transforms. So here's my invitation for you. A couple different things that you can do to continue to stay plugged in. First of all, December 29th, 9:30 to 12:30 Pacific time, because I'm in California, and so wherever you are in the world, join me. I am offering a free masterclass to go deeper into what you heard today in order for you to harness everything that happened in 2020 and use it to create your quantum leap into 2021. 3 keys to creating your best year ever in 2021. It's free. The link to register is up in the description. The only thing I ask is that you make a charitable contribution to something that you believe in. We got to have a money exchange. I don't want you to give it to me. I want you to give it to a charity. So register in the link up in the description. And I have a Facebook group, Ultimate Life Now, that I would love for you to come be a member of in order to keep this conversation going, in order to help you. Let me put my arms around you. Let me pour love into you. Let me pour believing into you and show you very specifically a system for you to unlock and unleash this power that is you, to put it in service to the dream that is coming alive in you. So that is Ultimate Life Now. I'll put that up in the description as well. Big breath. Lots of information. And I'm going to encourage you to really ponder what I shared with you, understanding that it is absolutely possible for you to be in one of these really dark periods and actually let it be the catalyst to catapult you into your quantum leap. Go back and listen to this full live to get all the instructions on that, and then share in the comment section and in my Facebook group how you are utilizing what you heard today in order to truly transform your experience, your life, and keep your dream and contribution going. My name is Felicia Searcy, your Dream Life Activator. It is my absolute joy to be your partner in believing. Your dream is my passion. I look forward to seeing you in the group, and I look forward to seeing you on the 29th. Mwah! God bless.